Well, before I was doing this, I worked for a company in Superior called Crane Song, who does high-end pro audio gear for recording studios and stuff like that. I bought a boutique pedal, and it showed up and it didn't work. I was like, oh, lovely. So I brought it into work one morning before my shift and started figuring it out, and it took me all of 5 minutes to figure out why it didn't work. And I was like, if I'm gonna spend that kind of money, I can just start buying parts and maybe start designing something myself. I just kind of hunkered down in my basement and started messing around, and 3 or 4 months later I had a couple of pedals. My friend Andy tried them out, and next thing you know I get talked into starting a company, and so I did.
Every guitar player has got a certain tone in their head that they're trying to find, whether it's all together for their whole tone, or for a certain song or project they're doing, or just because they've been listening to a certain thing. Like for me, it's always Neil Young. I listen to Neil Young and I gotta get that tone. What Sean's pedals do, what he forces you to do, he doesn't label the stuff. So he forces you to experiment and figure it out, and then you start realizing the wide span of tones that you can get out of his pedals. And they're all really organic, as in organic meaning they don't sound synthetic, they don't overly color your tone.
The Snow Job, which is my most popular pedal, I designed that as a distraction because I was working on my reverb pedal, the Ice Verb. I'm saying, okay, I'm going to design something simple, one transistor, just to take my mind off of something that is perplexing me. And I didn't think much of it, and I just kind of gave the prototype to a friend, and just like, you've got to build this pedal. Gave it to somebody else, and they're like, I need one of these. So it became a pedal.
Without the Snow Job, then you kick it in and
it's an underdrive, which is a term that a friend of mine, Philippe Herndon from Caroline Guitar Company, basically made up. One of the knobs messes with the frequency response before it hits an amplification stage in the pedal. He told me I should call it an underdrive, and I was like, I like that.
a reverb. It simulates like a spring reverb from an old Fender amp. It kind of gives you a shimming, like not so much of an echo, but like a spacious effect. Here's a clean signal again. And the more you play with it, the more it starts kind of shimmering. It's a really cool pedal.
All my production pedals have printed circuit boards, so they get built up on fancy little circuit boards. But before it gets to this stage, it gets built on this. So all of these little wires just become little copper traces across the circuit board. So, prototype will look like this. They're ugly inside. I have all the wires extra long so I can pull it out, and I've got an oscilloscope, and obviously I put power to the pedal. And that's just what the signal looks like, not going into the pedal. Just a nice clean sine wave. You turn it on, it adjusts the wave, what it looks like. Obviously you can change the frequency. This I typically test, I got it set, it's at 462 hertz now, which is basically A on a guitar. As much as they're designed for a guitar, and I'm a guitar player, I design everything to be full frequency range, so no matter what instrument you want to play through it, it should sound good.
For a lot of us guitar players, we kind of get addicted to having more and more pedals. They all sound unique, and they really get you to experiment with your tone. So
I've got 3 new pedals in the works. I'm hoping to have at least one of them done for a trade show in Nashville this summer called the NAMM Show. It's time consuming, the development process. You can spend years, just getting something to the point where, okay, this is something I want to bring to market and sell to people.